All right, everyone. Here we are. Welcome back to Water Polo Wednesday with Wes and Clay. He's Wes.
I think he's Clay today.
All right. That's the energy we need. And we're on YouTube here. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notifications to never miss an episode. And drop us a line. Leave comments. We got an Instagram channel as well. And you can email us at waterpolowednesday@gmail.com. We're growing. We're past 600 subscribers now. Thank you all so much for your support. It means a lot to us, and we're investing it back into you guys. We've got a new microphone here, so I'm catching up to Wes. Hopefully you can tell a difference here, and it's a little bit easier to enjoy the show. Wesley, what do we got today?
Well, we got a lot of good stuff today, Clay. It was a good weekend of water polo, some top 10 ranked games, little insight into what's going on in the water polo world. But before we dive in, Clay, to this week, first things first, we love to lead with gratitude. There were a lot of different families and people that came up to me over the weekend. I was at Pacific on Friday, Cal on Saturday and Sunday. We'll break down those games in a bit, but just want to thank you for saying hi. Always great to hear from you guys and just the different families. You know, it's meaningful to us that we know we're having an impact on you and that you enjoy the show. And so we appreciate all the feedback, good or bad. And it was really cool to meet a lot of the people. I just really appreciate just how warm everybody's been and people coming up to us. So that's been really cool. I'm sure you've experienced quite a bit of that too, Clay, at Pepperdine and LMU.
Not as much as you, but yeah.
Well,
you're Mr. Worldwide. You're Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Kading.
You know, Clay, if for what it's worth, I did have somebody come up to me who I've never met and say, "Wes, is Clay here?" And I said, "No." She goes, "Okay, thanks." And I'm like, well, Clay, you were famous. You're still famous. So for what it's worth, Clay, even people coming up to me asking about you. So you're
very good.
You're still popular.
Very good. Hello, Chelsea
All right,
family.
let's get rolling. Nobody cares about that. Let's rock and roll. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. All right, let's do this. This is going to be exciting today. But before we start talking about this last weekend, we got a big deal here. Clayton and I are continuing to try and iterate. We are continuing to try and up-level our sport, the media coverage, the output, availability, accessibility, something I have grown to love. For those of you who watch this show, you will know that I probably mention Michigan football more than any other topic that's not water polo related. I love Michigan football. I didn't go to Michigan. My wife did. She was a rock star water polo player there. And she really got me into Michigan football. She's amazing. She's been on the show once. She really got me into Michigan football. And every Saturday morning for like 9 years, really until we had a kid, we watched College Game Day and the Fox Big Noon kickoff. And we would watch as much college football as we could. And I loved it. I loved that there were analysts. I loved that they had highlights. I loved that they previewed games. And I loved the people in the background, the fans, the signs. It was awesome. So, what do we have for you? What is this leading to, Clay? Well, this is what it's leading to. I got to tell you, I am so excited about this. What is this? This is what we're calling College Polo Live. I have learned how to produce a TV show in my free time, believe it or not. And so what we're going to do is we are going to live stream from the University of Pacific starting at 6 p.m. on Friday, September 26th, prior to USC versus Pacific. Now, I was out at Pacific on Friday. That place was hopping. The stands were packed. They had the band. They've got the drone wire camera flying over the top. The student section was absolutely overflowing, and it was loud. It was a great game. We'll break that down later, but this is what we're going to do. So if you have any interest, come out, bring a sign, stand behind us, right? Like we'll be right near the entrance of the University of Pacific Eberhart Aquatic Center right there. We'll be filming live for about 45 minutes to an hour. We've got a couple of great guests, including people who are on the NCAA decision committee for water polo, as you know, athletic directors from UOP. We're going to have Jimmy from Ducko there. He's helping put this together. So if you want to meet Jimmy and you want to talk to him about your favorite suit, we want as many people there as we can be. It's a big day for water polo, The San Jose State will be playing Stanford at San Jose State that day. We're going to recap that when we'll preview the next couple of games that weekend. We also have Fordham Princeton to talk about. So a lot of good games that weekend. Frankly, I think the best weekend of water polo we will have had to date. And that even includes this weekend for water polo around the country. So September 26th, 6 p.m., University of Pacific, the premiere of College Polo Live. We're going to be promoting this for the next couple of weeks leading up to it. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please let us know. We would love to see you out there. Get there early, get ruckus. It's a great environment. James Graham does a great job out there at the University of Pacific. So really looking forward to that. Clay won't be there for that. I will be. So for those of you looking for Clay,
I was going to say, you're saying we a lot. I'm like, I just don't want to get not that anyone is getting their hopes up about me.
To see you.
No. It's not what I said. It's not what I said.
All right, so let's keep moving forward. All right, so we had a lot of games this weekend, some good, some not so good. Clay, you start us off. You were at Pepperdine UCSB overtime thriller on Thursday, 15-14. Yeah. Pepperdine wins.
Yeah, that's right. It was a thrilling match, and I do think these teams match up pretty well. UCSB went up 4-2 in the first quarter, and they kept the lead for most of the match until Matty Walsh tied it at 12 in the middle of the fourth, and they traded goals in overtime, and then graduate Dane Howell would score the golden goal for the win, 15-14. It's on ESPN Plus if you want to watch. It's a very fun game to call. I was absolutely lit up in the Firestone Fieldhouse calling the game. I think the three difference makers here for Pepperdine there were three, I'll say. And the first, I think, was a tactical shift to a double post on offense with Matt Walsh on one side and freshman Chanad Bella on the other. That was just a lot for the Santa Barbara defense to handle. Really seemed to open things up for Gall, Howell, and Ionescu up top. The second was Ionescu seemed to have his shooting arm calibrated correctly for this game. He's not been shy about shooting in these past few games, but he's had some elbow issues, I believe, and he was feeling it. And they were falling at really critical times. And thirdly, of course, Howell finally getting more aggressive, being a little less selfish, being okay being the guy when it mattered the most. So props to him. And then I think it's important to call out power play conversions on these games too. I think it's an interesting stat, kind of indicative of some things. And we can make it a guessing game too. So if anyone wants to guess Pepperdine's power play ratio, they drew 9 exclusions in this game. How many do you think that they converted on?
I'm going to say 2.
You're right. 2 for 9. But what was UC Santa Barbara? They also drew 9 exclusions.
My gut says 2, but I'm going to go with, I haven't looked. 5?
Trust your gut, Wes. You know better.
2.
You know better than
2
this.
2 for 9. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So very low on the 6-on-5 conversion, but it was equal in how low it was. And that was kind of indicative of that final score.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. If you haven't heard Clayton's Howell Sends It Home, I think you got to go hear this. He did a nice job on
Maybe we should take clips, highlight clips of the call and post them.
Stanford,
I'll start someday.
Stanford, UCSB, 16-7. Stanford has had a pretty light schedule, all things considered. They've yet to really play a top 10, top 5 team this year. So they've kind of been rolling along. They also beat San Diego this week. They'll get their chance, though. They're going to get their chance this weekend. UCLA beat UCI 13-7. That game was really close at half. 1-goal game at half. UCLA extended using that depth and just the overpowering force of the Dodd brothers, Tico. I mean, I could go down the list of guys that are just so influential. Brown beat Fullerton. Nice win for Brown there. Air Force then beat Brown. Tough road trip for Brown. It was kind of highs and lows. I thought they'd beat Santa Barbara. They did not. I was dead wrong about that. Santa Barbara beat them 13-10. Long Beach smashed through Harvard. I thought they'd win by 5 or 6. I knew they had something to prove. I didn't think they were going to roll up and throw 23 goals at them. So I'm skipping around here, Clay. Cal had a trio of games. They beat Pacific 17-9 at Pacific. They beat Davis 16-13 at Cal, and they beat San Jose State 12-10 at Cal. So I'll break those down in just a second, but let me finish the scores. Princeton beat Navy 18-8. LMU beat Santa Barbara 16-12. UCLA beat Pepperdine 19-8, and then USC beat UCI 13-8. Mihailo Vukovic scored 8 goals for USC on 10 shots. That's a heck of a percentage. So Cal versus Pacific, I thought great game. At the end of the first half, so it was 5-2 in the first quarter. Cal was leading. Pacific just storms back. Apostolos Iogatis had 5 goals in the first half. And he was just unbelievable. It was great to watch, man. It was I saw him at U20 Worlds for Greece, and he was special. And now he's kind of taken another step in that progression as he continues to take a leadership role as a freshman, which is great to see. You love that. It's a new team, really new team for them. So Cal winning 17-9, they went on a 9-1 second half run. That was the score in the second half, 9-1. Wow. The depth of Cal really showing. Iogatis got his second exclusion, I think, within like a minute or two into the third quarter. So he was basically benched at that point. He did ultimately get his third on what they called was a game minor misconduct. I saw a few of those this weekend. I got to tell you, I do not like this rule at all. Iogatis was celebrating with the student section that was right behind.
Yeah, I saw that
his goal, and I have the replay on my phone. They sent it to me. I don't think
that was worth it. Yeah.
I don't see it, and I get that it's to stop like fights from escalating. I didn't see a taunt in it. I mean, I was poolside. I was on the deck. I did not see a taunt. I think I even go quiet, like kind of confused. So was really unfortunate. We really need a better definition of what this is and how to interpret it. Our sport's hard enough. We start throwing more vague calls.
It's just going to make people based frustrated. On interpretation.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. And I'll be candid with you, Clay. I really miss the continuation calls from international play. And I really miss the challenge flags. Like Sam Keeley scored a goal against Cal, like as he made a turn with the ball in his hand. So there are a few issues here. With the ball in his hand, he makes a turn, gets called, earns an exclusion while he's making the move, and gets up and scores. Well, that goal now doesn't count because the exclusion was called before the goal was scored. That's unfortunate. That's frankly terrible. That we should be encouraging goals. That's really bad. We need to encourage goals, not play for the whistle. That has hurt us on the international stage. Play for goals. So there's that. Cal beating Davis. They were up 6 going into the fourth quarter. They relinquished 3 of those. It got within 1 goal. Then Oleg Shatsky got his third exclusion for another game minor misconduct. Ponferrada got his third exclusion for a game minor misconduct as well, which, again, it's very vague, but these things seem to be flying around pretty regularly to the point that it's impacting the outcomes of games and how these games go. I think we need to be really mindful. This is a very powerful tool these referees have. We need to be very mindful of how these things are being used. And then we had Cal San Jose State, which I think is the best game of water polo we have seen all year. So in the first 3 weeks, this is the game for me. This was tied 4-4 at half. It was an outstanding defensive game, which I love. I love defensive games, like really good goalie play from Iran Pina and Japyash. Pina finished with a higher save percentage than Japyash did. I thought the passing was elite from Cal. I thought Will Kelly really stood out for me this weekend. He had a couple of pick sixes going the other way on 6-on-5 shorthanded goals. Shamu Birosh had 4 goals. He looked all the part of an All-American. I'll tell you what, he is really playing up. And he had 4 goals as a right-hander on the right side. So he's not even in the shooting, like the scoring side for a right-hander. He's doing a lot. And Sam Keeley is a man among men. He is a problem, as we called out earlier. This guy's amazing. Like, he's amazing, Clay. He's playing a different game. And you get him the ball, he's getting field blocks. He's got a 6'6", 6'7" frame. Homeboy's like everywhere, right? So that length really helps.
Yeah.
Really awesome to see. I absolutely loved this game. I thought this was a great game. I got to call it. I had a lot of fun calling it. I had a lot of fun being at Cal this weekend. They're the only 2 games at Cal I think I'm doing this year unless something changes. So really enjoyed that opportunity, that experience. Want to thank the Cal staff for being so welcoming. They had a Diet Coke ready for me to go. And the parents were feeding me Diet Coke at the game. So I was all hyped up. But all things considered.
I thought you were a Celsius guy. Wes.
That's a longer story, but my wife made me quit Celsius. So San Jose State has nothing to be ashamed of here. They played the best strategy they could have. Cal did not get out on the break a whole lot. There were there was 1 steal pick 6 from, I think, Will Kelly. But Perrone couldn't get out the way he likes to get out. They just didn't have. They stopped the Cal counterattack. They just had a harder time stopping some of the 6-on-5s and Cal's ability to convert. And where Cal did get to them late, there was one. It was quite a few contra fouls called. So that's a little tough. Those are really tough calls to make and to deal with. So great game for San Jose State. They looked all the part of a top 4, top 5 team, top 6 team. I think they and Pacific, both very good. They're different than Pacific, but they're both very, very good teams, and was really impressed to see both of them, as was Davis. And I think they've taken a few losses, but they played a hard schedule. They might have played the hardest schedule in the college thus far. I mean, they have had a hard schedule to start the season. So kudos to them, I suppose. All good. The last thing I'll call out. Pacific, Davis, and San Jose State all scheduled these as one-off games for them over the weekend. Look at the scores here. Pacific was 8-8 at half, okay? And they got a couple of guys rolled early third. So that really dictated that. Davis came storming back in the fourth because they had the energy and courage and enthusiasm to do so. You love to see that. That was a 1-goal game at one point in the fourth. Mm-hmm. San Jose State tied 4-4 at half. Okay, 4-4 at half. And this is a 2-goal game. That's a single call, turnover, tip difference from being tied, right? At the end of the game going to overtime. These are great games. We need more of this. We need more of these one-off games.
So you could argue that sure, in a one-off game, but that's not how a lot of these tournaments are structured, right? Where endurance means a lot for these.
Okay, but which tournaments?
For a conference championship weekend or the NC2A championship weekend itself, where you have multiple games over a few days. But
one game a day.
Sure.
One game a day.
So it is one game a day, and that is important to point out. And I'm not sure how many other sports, I know budgets and things are, an issue here. How many other sports would ever have more than a single game in a day, or even how many games over the course of a weekend? So it just goes to show that we could have so much even more parity, which is what I think we're going for in this sport, if we're able to spread these games out. No one wants to see Davis or Pacific that gets worn out in the first game play a Cal or a UCLA in that second game. Yeah. We want to see everyone's best. We want to see everyone's best play each other, because that's the best game, right? And this is the perfect example of it. Great to see.
And if our sport is going to grow, we need more parity. And the people at the top will say, well, that's not true. Well, it is true. Parity creates fandom. Uncertainty creates fandom. Do you know why commercials cost more in the first half of a football game than the second? Because there's uncertainty as to who's going to win. More eyeballs will
hanging
watch
around.
the first half.
You're curious.
Right. People want to see what's going to happen. But by the second half, oftentimes it's 28-0, 35-0. Nobody watches that. That's not good for the growth of our sport. It's just not. And so for us, as commentators, as analysts, as observers of the sport now, we want this to be big. Leading into 2028 and beyond, this needs to be something that people care about, because we're hosting the Olympics. More than anything, let's grow it. What better place than here? What better time than now to grow it? Yeah, I like that.
Can't stop us now.
Yeah. Anyway, so that I'll get off my soapbox. I'm going to come back to that same soapbox in just a moment here, but we'll get to our rankings for the week.
Well, just real quick, I think it is worth calling out. I think UCSB did beat Brown 16-8 was the score of that game. Not 13-10.
Not 13-10. My mistake.
Yeah. So a little bit of a bigger gap there, and I do think it's worth calling out LMU's victory against UC Santa Barbara as well. And kudos to Coach Carrasco.
Yeah. 16-12 was that one.
The LMU game, yeah, for sure.
So I need to go back and look at the data. And let's talk about the data, because the data all weekend was a little bit off. It was a little bit off on some, I think at one point it showed CBU losing to Biola. So I'm going to show you first my ELO rating. All right, so here's the ELO rating. And somebody made this comment. The ELO rating is only looking at a sample of 2 weeks of games, not a holistic of how we view the teams. Data is
2 weeks
only
of games considering who everyone has played within those 2 weeks.
That's right. And so, like, yes, Stanford is a little bit higher than Fordham. Stanford hasn't played a top 10 team other than Davis, who's now going to slide out of the top 10. This is last week's top 10 yet. And when they
Here's
play
a question.
Davis, yeah.
Does the ELO score, can that factor in, can that weight games based on the ranking of the team that they play thus far?
The way we have it set up today, no. Not based on the rank. It's based on their win percentage and their kind of moving average.
Kind of doesn't even tell a story at that point.
It tells a story, but not the whole story. So think of it like this.
Certainly not this early in the season. Like at the end of the season, yes.
Yeah. So we need a whole, like, more empirical data. The ELO ratings will be different than top 10 because if you were to take the ELO ratings and try to say, well, like, if you think they're perfect, look at how wrong my predictions were, right? Like, I think I only got one right. That's because the ELO rating was incorrect. ELO, if you were to use ELO rating for everything, it's a little bit like driving a car while looking backwards. You're going forward, but you're looking in the rear, like you're looking backwards, going, well, wait a second. You know, that's not how this works. But it's interesting. The data aspect of things is also really important. So for those of you who are close to your university or your coaches, we need a standardized output of data and stats for every team across the country. It is not acceptable. Look, all your coaches, all the coaches out there expect excellence from every athlete. I don't think there's a single coach out there that's like, yeah, dude, take a week off during the season. No big deal. No problem.
And families and parents expect of the program to hold it up to a high standard, right? Yeah.
Yes. To that degree, as fans, we expect the program to uphold to a high standard. We expect excellence from the programs we support, which we're supportive of college water polo in general. Okay? We expect excellence. Excellence is not hiding your statistics. Excellence is not only producing goals or waiting 2 to 3 weeks to publish your stats or not producing stats at all. There needs to be a push to mandate that every team by Monday at 10 a.m. or whatever it is has the exact same statistical categories filled out and accurate. And I'm not talking about the Foch or 6-8, right? I'm not talking about that. I want the coaches' statistics that they're taking. And it's simple. It's going to be the same for everybody across the board. Shots, shot attempts, goals, assists, ejections drawn, ejections against for the individual, field blocks, steals, and for goalies, saves, and of course, steals and assists. Those are statistics every coach takes today. Every program takes those statistics today. Okay? There's no reason that should not be publicized by every team. There's not. That should be
for everyone listening. For everyone listening, stats are often not published
by some teams. They're not published at all.
Not all of them, right?
A lot of teams only publish goals. Some teams produce everything that we're talking about.
Well, let's go a step deeper, Wes. Why would this be important? Why does this matter?
If we're going to up-level our sport, we can't be hiding. People want to know this stuff. That's why there is the Foch. That's why Tony came out with 6-8. People want to know this stuff. Okay? It's good for the sport if we can look up and say, here are the statistics. Furthermore, if we're going to put all Americans out there, we should really know, hey, yeah, they had 100 goals, but they shot 500 times. Versus somebody who might have 80 goals and shot 160 times. Who's the better player? Who deserves that spot? It needs to be objective. We want to objectively look at this game and the statistics and understand patterns and trends, right? That's good for the sport because there are people out there that can come up with different insights. It's like there isn't a sport in the world that's like a major sport, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, where you can't look at and see how many innings or minutes they played, how many pass attempts a quarterback had, if somebody had an assist or a goal or a three-pointer. Can you imagine if all basketball put out was like how many points each player had? There's a whole industry around statistics. It's called fantasy football.
And this is where I think also we get into the realm of like media and storytelling. And these numbers, like when you're watching a football or basketball game and like different stats come up when different players are coming up to the mound or like are out to up to a free throw line, it helps paint a picture. It helps tell a story to give color to the moment that you're watching. It makes it more exciting, right? If they're making a lot of their shots and they miss, ooh, that's a big moment, or vice versa, right? And we've called up before how because of the new house ruling, head coaches and programs are now having to treat themselves, coaches more like GMs and programs more like professional programs. It's like we may as well kind of lean into that direction. And we're, like you said, Wes, it's not an ask for anything more than what programs are already doing. They're collecting the stats. If they're not collecting the stats, then something, I think you
that's
should.
A different issue altogether.
So
but
it's a whole different conversation. But like, the stats are there, and right. So if you have one person on either side that are already taking stats for their players, their team's offense and defense, there's a lot to track. But if you have all that and readily accessible, and to be able to rank and compare and contrast on a database, that'd be so much fun for people.
It would be a lot of fun, and it would be good for our sport and players would dive into it. And there are a lot of people that would love it, but it's crazy to me that we don't have this. Like every college sport has this.
It's not that crazy. Not every college sport has.
The way I look at it,
I'd be surprised.
Should be aspiring. I'd be surprised.
Of course. That's what we're doing.
I'm probably
here.
wrong, but look, we don't compare ourselves against the worst. We compare ourselves against the best, right? Yes. So let's keep going. All right, Stanford, you can see here is having their goals for is not good. Their offense is low. Their defense is very good, but they haven't really played anybody. So we just don't know much about Stanford. And I call them out first because you see Cal, who's putting up quite a few goals, but they're also giving up a few more goals. Now, Cal would come in higher rated, which they are, and UCLA. I think Princeton, their schedule, not playing. They haven't played anybody big yet. They're gonna. I think they're out here for MPSF invite, but that's kind of not anyway. But they'll also get Fordham in a couple of weeks and USC. So kind of cluster here is strong. One thing I wanted to point out was San Jose State. We talked about this on both the broadcast and last week, but San Jose State scoring is just not there right now. You can see they're below the line of really the acceptable number. They have a win probability about 59% for every game that they've played, but their margin of victory on average is less than 1 goal. So they're not giving up a ton of goals. 10.8 is good. That's actually very good. 11.6 scoring is not. They've got to get to 13, 14, 15 goals. And I don't mean against a like D3 type of school. I mean against your conference. Do it against Pacific. Do it against PEP. Do it against LMU. LMU's on the rise. Like those types of things. So this is something I really wanted to like call out because it's starting to give us a better picture of things. And then if you take Fordham, who's a juggernaut, right? They're scoring a lot more, but they're also giving up more, right? So 12.2, probably a little bit too high for them, especially in the conference that they're in. So this is something like I've talked to Coach Ilya and Brian about this, like, hey guys, here's kind of where they're at. And so more data allows for us to derive more insights. Now we are working on more things in the background that we're not sharing just yet, and we will share it when we're available to. Now we're going to go back to our rankings. So here are our rankings for the week. We moved Princeton into the 10 spot. They've been pretty consistent, and this is more based on the eye test than anything. I was very impressed with Davis this week. Everything else stays the same. I was very impressed with Davis this week. I don't know how long they can maintain this pace that they're playing. They're really playing at a very high level. Maybe it's consistent all year, but there's some cracks there on they're limited a little bit on their offense. It wasn't until Ponfe went out that Shotsky was able to like actually assert himself. And so they struggle a little bit to get production. I know Layson's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He's got a lot of interesting things that he does. So they're going to be a good team. That's not to say anything about them, but Princeton has been consistent. They shellacked Navy, I think 18-8 this weekend was what I saw. They seem to be a good team. I know Otto Stotthart there is really, really something. Coming out of high school, one of the better centers coming out of high school this year, if not the best. So good pickup for Princeton. So UCLA, USC, Cal, Fordham, Stanford, San Jose State, Long Beach State, UCI, Pacific, and Princeton. San Jose State and Pacific don't move despite losses to Cal. San Jose State will take on Stanford in about a week and a half. Again, September 26th, Pacific will play USC. So we'll see how
We'll
those
love to
games
see
go.
that.
We
Yep.
are excited for all that. And as you know, College Polo Live. All right, 3 stars for the week. Mihailo Vukovic gets 1. 8 goals on 10 shots versus UCI. He was outstanding. I talked to him after. I said, "Hey, Mihailo, you scored 8 and UCI scored 8. Why didn't you score a 9th one just to, win the game yourself there?" And he kind of laughed. But 8 goals against UCI, 8 goals against anybody on 10 shots. We'll take that all day. This guy plays at a different level. Continue to be impressed with him. Going to get to meet him or hang out with him when USC rolls up to Pacific in a couple of weeks at that game for College Polo Live. That's going to be great. Apostolos Iogadis went 6 of 9 shooting versus Cal. I think it was 5 of 7 in the first half, Clay.
Amazing.
Including an unbelievable backhand.
Yeah.
It's the year of the backhand. He was great. I had a great time broadcasting that game. Big shout out to Pat Donlin, who is normally the play-by-play announcer, let me do the play-by-play, and he took the color. It was really nice of him. Had a great time there. He was wonderful to work with. Can't wait to see that crew again in a couple of weeks. And Besso Akvalediani from Cal quietly put up 9 goals and 6 assists. 3 goals, 2 assists like per game. Just really programmatic. Reminds me a little bit of Casabea. A little smaller than Casabea, but he's really quick and he passes really well. His best attribute is probably his passing. And what it does is when he's moving the ball so fast, when it does get to him and it's his look, he's putting it away. So that Cal team, as Kirk told me, the biggest problem they have is just figuring out who to play because there's so much talent there. And, we talked about it. We said sometimes super talented teams are harder to coach than teams with very limited talent because you just don't know where to go and who's going to gel. So those are our 3 stars for the week. There were a lot of other great candidates. Shamu Buros had a great game. Botan Balog had a good game. Max Zelikov had a good game. And there are, a couple of guys that we definitely considered. Once you're in our thoughts here as we put this together, as they're not easy. A lot of guys deserve some shout outs. So it's a good week of water polo. Moving forward now, let's keep going. The MPSF invite is this weekend. It's the MPSF invite brought to you by Overnight. I will be down there for a couple of games. Haven't quite gotten the schedule yet, so I can't tell you which. But we'll certainly be there. If you're there, please come up and say hi. The semifinals Saturday night and finals on Sunday. The UCLA pool after Friday. So Friday is like the first game. And basically, if you win, you go to UCLA. If you lose, you go to USC. So there's that. It's a good opportunity for D3 teams to play up. There's I think I can list. If you give me 1 second, I got the schedule here. So the teams that'll be there this weekend, we got USC, UCLA, Cal, Stanford, Long Beach, UCI, Princeton, Davis, Pepperdine, San Diego, LMU, CBU, Santa Clara, UCSB, CMS, which is, I think, Claremont
Mudscripts.
and Redlands. So an opportunity for CMS and Redlands to play up a bit there, and that's great for them. And we'll see how these teams do. Notable absentees are going to be your Fordhams, your San Jose State, your Pacific, and I don't blame them. This tournament is, designed really for MPSF teams to, they get the easiest of the first games, and then they kind of roll through. And whatever else. So scheduling does matter. There's no shade to anybody who chose not to attend this event. It's a fun event. I went back. I tried to do a little research, but there wasn't any correlation between winning this event and winning NC2A. So it should be a good tournament because what do you have to lose at that point, right? So guys will be out. It'll be the first chance we see Stanford actually play a top 4 team, assuming they can win their first 2 games, which I think they should. It'll be the first chance we see them play a ranked team, top 10 team, top 9 team. So that'll be really good. Excited to see that, and we'll continue on. Yeah.
There you go.
And it looks like Stanford, the winner of Stanford Santa Clara, is going to play Long Beach and the winner of Long Beach and CBU. So that might be kind of interesting because I anticipate Long Beach will beat CBU. I anticipate Stanford will beat Santa Clara, but that Stanford Long Beach game will be an interesting good test for them. Yeah, that'll be an interesting game for sure. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good weekend and a lot of fun. Be sure to check it all out. And there's that. let's see if we have any. I think that's all we've got today, Clay. That's all we've
That's
got,
it?
my man.
That's all.
That's it. That's it.
Gosh.
So next up, we could probably go back. Just a reminder, September 26th, College Polo Live will be at the University of Pacific. Next up, we have a great interview coming up. This one with the two centers who transferred to Cal, Chase Wilson and Dom Brown. Had a chance to meet their families this weekend up at Cal. Great experience. Want to thank them personally for coming up and saying hi. And so we'll be right back with their interview right after this. Welcome back, everyone. I am joined today by two fabulous centers, Dom Brown and Chase Wilson, both of the Cal Berkeley Bears. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
thanks so much, Wes.
It's good to see you guys this weekend. Was fortunate enough to meet both your families and see you guys play 3 games in a row this weekend. You guys you're it at the center position for Cal. I know Jigo Sarmsaki is younger, but I mean, he's really looking up to you guys. So both of you, something unique about you guys, both of you transferred. Dom, you from Santa Barbara, Chase, you from Pepperdine. We really haven't, this is kind of the first time we've seen like a really, guys, you guys are both pretty big names, right? Like really big names making moves in the transfer portal. Dom, why don't you go first? Talk to us about that process for you, and then we'll kind of hear from Chase.
So obviously I transferred in like the spring window, which is honestly is pretty uncommon. Like most of the transfers I think occurred in the December 1st through 30th, and I didn't want to do that. I mean, we finished our season, and obviously I wasn't super happy with how it finished for our team, but I wanted to kind of keep working towards the next season. And then actually, I'm not sure, like, obviously you know this, but I was in Spain for pretty much all of spring training over there. So I was away from the team, kind of just training, and I don't know, I just kind of had some conversations with my family, and I started to think about it, and I was just like, I don't know, like, if I wanted to do the rest of my career there. Like, it's nothing against Santa Barbara. I loved it there. It was an amazing place, amazing people. I had, like, so much fun there and a really great experience with water polo. And I kind of just wanted to push myself a little more and see what opportunities I would have. And so I decided to enter my name, and obviously a couple schools reached out, and Kurt called me, and we kind of talked about the fact that obviously I'm a NorCal kid, and I always wanted to go to Cal when I was young, but they had a lot of centers I still needed to develop. So it kind of just worked out at the time that, like, the time was right then, but it wasn't right. Like, it was right now, but it wasn't right then. So ended up deciding to come here and couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and you're from De La Salle, right? That area. That, I mean, that's a football powerhouse. Not as well known for water polo, but close enough to Berkeley that this is kind of your home team, and pretty special for your parents to be able to join every single game versus having to go all the way down to Santa Barbara, like other families have had to. So I mean, it makes sense, right? You kind of aspire to be at Cal, and look, it's the number 2 public university in the country. Go Blue. My wife will appreciate that, guys. Sorry. But it's, it's awesome that you're able to be there and kind of adapt to that culture so easily. Now, Chase, you came from a little bit different landscape. Dom went UC to UC, but you went from private of Pepperdine. Mind you, you flew all the way from Greenwich, Connecticut out here to go to Pepperdine, and then you're making the move to the Bay. You've done a couple of big moves here. Talk to us about that, what that was like for you. Any different for you? You weren't in Spain for the spring. We saw you little with the U20 team in National League. But what was that like for you? May have been a little bit different than maybe going from UC to UC.
Well, I mean, when I was coming out to like California, I mean, obviously it's a bit of a culture shock, coming out to a whole different state and living there. But
Sure.
But yeah, like for me, when it came to transferring, it wasn't really anything that had to do with water polo at all. It was just the Pepperdine as a school wasn't really working for me. With the classes and kind of like the school size wasn't really what I wanted. And I kind of wanted more of like a city feel because I did live in New York City until I was like 14. So I was like, I kind of wanted that again. And like the coaches understood it too at Pepperdine, which I really love, like Merrill Moses, like Tradgett, Spencer Hamby, all of those guys, even Trill, like they understood, like there was like no malice there at all. So like we had a really good relationship with that end. And then I entered my name in the portal after season, and Kirk did the same with me, like he probably did with Dom, and like texted me, and from there, ended up here. So I mean, I'm very happy.
Yeah, and so both of you guys make the move. Both of you pretty premier centers in our sport in college water polo. You're coming into a program that had just graduated Papa Nicolau and Georgiavakian in subsequent years. Talk to us about the roles you guys have taken on. I mean, look, Chase, you started the Pacific game. Dom, you started the Davis game. I can't remember who started the San Jose State game. Regardless, you guys are the frontline centers for Cal. What has that been like for you? Is it difficult to get integrated with a new team, or has it been pretty seamless?
For me personally, I think it's been really good for me and Chase and the entire team as a whole. I mean, whoever's starting that day is starting that day. And, like, I know that doesn't really mean anything to either of us because we have each other's back and we're both each other's biggest fans. And I mean, you can see us always supporting each other during the game. But in terms of integrating with the team, I mean, it's been awesome for me. Everybody is so nice. Everybody's been really motivated. I've made some really great friends already, even being here for only like 5 or 6 weeks. And I think you can see that in these games when things may not go our way. We're such a new team, but we come together and we don't like go away from each other. We get tighter, and in those big moments, we come together.
Yeah, and on like my end, I mean, like I came here like a semester before Dom, so I had more time, to integrate myself and kind of like the team as well. And I feel like Dom integrated himself even faster than I did because it's NorCal kid. This is kind of life he's lived before. So, but yeah, I mean, like the transition was seamless. Like the coaches were amazing, and I think when it comes to like both of us like splitting time, I mean, like every single game, I mean, like if like he scores a goal, I'm gonna be the loudest one. If I score a goal, I'm sure he's gonna be the loudest one. So it's kind of this idea where we all know it's matchups and it's what we need at the time. And so I mean, like at that end, I think we're both gonna just try our best to help each other be better. And I think that's what we both are striving for.
It's such a funny thing for centers because typically only one of you plays at a time. But it's such a hard position, and you're so exhausted after 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. You're really happy to have somebody else play. Like it's kind of nice to be like, okay, tap in, you go. I need a breather, and that's awesome. You guys have that kind of camaraderie and support system built in. Not every position's that way, and it's. I think it speaks volumes to kind of who you guys are as people. Not surprising to me, but that's very cool. Now, Dom, you spent the spring in Spain. Talk to us about that. That's becoming very in vogue. People are, Corbin Stanley did it. I think there might have been. I know there's some younger kids doing it now. Talk to us about that experience. What was that like for you?
From a water polo perspective, it was unbelievable. I mean, getting to train at an extremely high level every single day, it was extremely eye-opening for me, and I think it really helped my development physically in terms of like how teams train over there in the gym, in the pool, but also mentally, and just the level of things that they see and the way that they play is the best in the world, in my opinion. I mean, they just won world champs, so I mean, you can see that. And then from just being in Spain perspective, I think I was in Barcelona and it was an amazing city. I mean, it had everything. It was beautiful, beautiful. I really enjoyed my time there, and I'm super grateful for everybody who was a part of it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, it's pretty unique opportunity to like study abroad. It's kind of a new thing because that really wasn't permitted when I was in school. You couldn't study abroad if you were on the team because you had training and you couldn't leave. And I don't know about the rules playing with a team, but very unique opportunity. What did you draw from that? What did you learn from the Spanish culture, the Spanish style of play? Because it's a little bit different than ours here.
So the club that I was training with every day was Barceloneta, and I think them more than any club in the world, you can kind of see in just the team camaraderie they have, the way that they all set each other up and the way that they all play team defense. And I mean, it was just unbelievable to me. Obviously, they have some incredible players like Felipe Peroni. I mean, what can you not learn from that guy? So just getting to see players like that every day and to like compete against them and play with them. I mean, just the little things that they do like, in terms of like how they draw defenders, how they pass, how they get in the lane, like just their 6-on-5, their 5-man. It was incredible to see. And I mean, at first I was like a little kid, but eventually I had to start trying to compete. So
yeah, were you teammates then with Tomas Perone while you were there?
We weren't on the same team, but I pretty much saw him every day at training.
Yeah, very cool. Right on. Now, Chase, you've had a little bit different experience. Obviously, you played in the National League. You've come back into Cal. You've got 2 years of eligibility left. Dom has 3, if memory serves, right? Talk to us about this season. You guys are 7-0 thus far. You haven't lost a game yet. 3 straight kind of like your game against Pacific was a top 10 game. Your game against San Jose State was a top 6 game, maybe top 5. That team's pretty good, I think. Talk to us about like Chase, what are you looking forward to this season?
Well, I think the thing that's really like cool about this year for us is that we're just so new and like everyone's come together so like recently that we're all like still figuring each other out. And I feel like that's kind of very beautiful in a way where it's like you're like making these steps while you're playing. So it's almost like you're just like kind of speed running this process. But I mean, at the same time, like we have such good players on this team, like Beso, Tomas, Aran, who just won like newcomer of the MPSF conference. I mean, like I feel like it's just like kind of really amazing how we can all like we've only been together for like a couple weeks now, but I mean like the camaraderie of a team is still like there and it's still like very strong and but we're still like figuring out each other's styles at the same time. So it's just like kind of this new area of opportunity that we all have for each other.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you do have obviously, you have some veterans, some very good veterans, all of whom have at least two national championships. You've got Samari Mirkovic, you've got Will Kelly, and Albert Ponferrada, to name a few. I might be forgetting someone, and I'm sorry if I am. But what are you guys taking from maybe their leadership? And Bende Party has been there for a few years. That's the one, yeah. I don't know how you forget Bende Party. But what have you guys learned from them? I mean, they've been around the block. They're some of the best players in the United States today.
I can speak just as kind of arriving here recently and having to kind of just integrate myself. I mean, every single one of the names you just said was extremely helpful and just super nice to me if you need anything like that. But the little things they do on a day-to-day basis to kind of just keep the culture and the way that they showed me the culture, like it did not take long for me to understand like how things work around here, and it was really cool. I mean, they're all great leaders. I think that they all keep us very humble and they hold us all accountable in practice. I mean, it's really a good group of leadership, and I think that is one of our strong suits.
Yeah, for sure. And Chase, what about you? Like, have you been able to draw something? I mean, these cultures are so different, right? Santa Barbara, Pepperdine, Cal, the cultures are different, oftentimes set by the leaders on the team. Kirk has a little bit different style where, in his words, he kind of lets the players run the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, like personally on my end, I feel like it's something that I really appreciate on that fact, where it's like the older guys have kind of like been very good at setting the standard like every single day. Where it's like if you look to your right, it's like you look at you like most seniors, you know, like on some teams might, you know, like oh, like my shoulder hurts today, like I'm not going to go as fast or something like that. But it's like I look over to like my right and my left, and it's like these guys who are like fit like fourth year, fifth year, 6 years guys who are just like pushing themselves like every day, like their body to the max. Like even though, you know, like they're 22, 23, 24, like that's what makes me like every single day like want to push myself because, you know, like I'm 20 years old, like I'm still like a young buck. And it's like when I see these guys, you know, pushing themselves like every single day and setting that like amazing standard, that's what I think that a lot of the young guys really appreciate because there's no drop off on the team. Like everyone gets in practice, everyone like makes plays. So it's really like expected, like there's expected excellence kind of in this team.
Interesting how a standard of excellence can be set and how you'll rise to that versus if it's not there, some guys will do it, but most won't. And you'll find that in life is I think, hey, if you're going to be excellent, demand excellence of yourself, you'll rise to it. So, all right, I have a question. As you were both centers, who's the toughest center defender you guys have played against? Dom, you go first.
Not just college, right? And you'd say
sure. Well, you got some unique. You're going to have some.
My first answer is going to be Jack Larson because he is a monster.
Yeah, he's a monster.
I'm sure you've seen him. He's huge. But
oh, yeah.
He's not only a monster, he's also one of the probably fastest center defenders in the world. So not only does he kill you, he swims you the other way, and it's not very fun. And
it's the worst.
That's my first answer. I would say the other one on another team would probably be Reno Burrich. He was not very fun. Yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He looks like he ate somebody, another human whole. He's so big. He just looks like there's two of him everywhere. It's incredible. He's now at Recco. All right, Chase, what about you?
I think I'm going to come out with some wild cards here. So when I was younger, I used to play Nyack sometimes, and they had Lucas Gieland.
Yeah, I know Lucas very well. He's strong, but he's a world-class center defender. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's played in Champions League, 6'7". Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, high school me had a lot of problems with that guy. I wouldn't say anything. And also on the fact that I would say Jack Larson was a good defender when I played against him because there was one game we played against UCLA my freshman year where it was like the second half I was the only center we had and I was, you know, a little bit smaller and a little bit not as fast, and he was a tough guard. So I'd say but I would say Lucas Gieland, for my age and how big and strong and good he was, he gave me probably the most trouble in my life.
Yeah, I mean, any 17-year-old going up against a 6'7" Champions League center defender is going to have a hard time. To that point, most grown men have a hard time with that, Chase. So it's totally understandable. Good shout out there to Lucas Gielen, though. Love that. Right on, dude. Well, look, thank you both for coming on the show. Last couple of questions here for you. You guys have a pretty good schedule. You've got MPSF invite this weekend. Obviously play USC, UCLA, and Stanford in your conference. Is there any particular game you guys are looking forward to more than another? I know you have Fordham on your schedule as well.
For me, I think this weekend is going to be huge for us because we started the season. We went out to Colorado and we played some weaker competition, obviously, just to kind of get the season started. And then we came back here and we played Marseille and Barceloneta. So we kind of went from the bottom straight to the very top of the top.
Mm-hmm.
So we had really nothing to judge ourselves on until this weekend. And then I think we performed well this weekend. We got some really good films, some really good results. So I think now we're going to take another level up. And this is like, we're kind of approaching parts of the season where we need to be at the level that we want to be at. So I'm really excited for this weekend because I think it's going to be a really good test and a really good opportunity for me, my team, and all my teammates.
Yeah, for sure. And I forget who you guys have in your group, but you guys
UCI and LMU, I think.
Okay, so kind of the middled group there. You get your shot Saturday night probably versus USC, right? Is kind of what you anticipate there. Cool. Chase, what about you? Any particular game you're looking for? I know you got Pepperdine on the schedule September 27th. That's at home. You do play Fordham as well, Stanford, USC, UCLA. Anybody in particular?
Well, I think since we do go to Cal, I think the one game that we are going to look forward to every single year is the Stanford game. I think you can't really say any other name than that. So like all the other games, we're just going to prepare our best for. But I think a Stanford game is always fun on both ends.
I love it. Well, cool. That's amazing. Good luck, you guys. Stanford, you're at Stanford. It looks like Friday, October 17th. I'll be on that game, and then you've got Stanford at Berkeley as part of the Big Splash, the last game of the regular season, Saturday, November 15th. So both will be fun games to watch, and wish you guys all the luck this year. I want to thank you for being on the show. It's great to see you guys again. I know we've had a chance to connect all of us before, but it's always good to see you guys. Good luck this season. All right.
Thank you. And
All right.
you for having us.
Sure. Take care, guys.